Okay, we're back with more Pathologic, a very strange game, like Russian game. Weird in the way Roadside Picnic is weird, or Stalker is weird. We're still trying to figure out what this game is all about, like what the core gameplay loop is. So far, it's investigation-based. There's this guy who is believed to be immortal, named Simon, from the Kain family, who died. We came here to visit him, and when we got here, he had died. And my colleague, who also came here to interview him, had died too. The protagonist of this game is like a doctor who's trying to solve the problem of death, so he was very interested in the notion of meeting an immortal person. But he's not immortal anymore. We're currently going to talk to this guy's son, who is kind of a suspect in the matter of the death of our colleague Isidore, who also came to investigate the rich immoral dude. The guy's son, we've talked to his dad. He lives in a mansion. His dad's a huge asshole. We did a bunch of quests to track down where his son was, and we got that information from this lady named Anna Angel, who was in a house, and she said something to the effect of, like, I'll help you find this kid as long as you don't tell anybody, and also you have to bury this body that's in my house for no reason. So we agreed to bury the body for her. We went and paid some gravedigger like 2,000 coins to do it for us, and then she agreed to tell us where to go. So that's where we're headed right now. We're in the building where the son we're looking to investigate is supposed to be, but I think after we logged off at the end of last episode, the person we ran into did not look like the son, so we'll find out what the next step is. This game, I haven't watched any of them, obviously, because of spoilers, but it keeps popping up on my YouTube front page. It's like, why? Pathologic is brilliant. So it seems pretty popular in like the underground games criticism community. Maybe in the same vein as something like Deadly Premonition, where it's kind of weird and unpolished, but it's doing something special that not a lot of other games can do. Hold on one second. Just doesn't look where I left off last time. Oh, I think this is why. I think I only had one save file in the first episode, so I didn't notice that that saves in that order. This guy looks like Christopher Walken, which is also not where I expected to leave off, so... Can I do continue, maybe? No, it just takes me out of this menu. I'll pause the clock while I try to figure this out. This hasn't been an issue before. This looks right. Oh, there's 2 quick saves at the top and then normal saves? Thanks, Game Saucer. I think that was why I was confused. Yeah, it looks like the thumbnail I left off on. This is where we were. Okay. Progress.
It's the same power that my dear mother used to glimmer with.
What was your mother? Like, what was she? Mother was Mistress Victoria. I was named after her. Your name's Capella, but okay. Got in her power along with her name. No one would be trying to crawl underground out of fear. People cling to Simon. Simon's the rich, immortal dead dude. Ex-immortal. Why don't you believe in Katerina's power? Katerina is scared like a child herself. I think she's being tricked. Prophecies come true just like it's always been. It's becoming more and more noisy. She really predict the future. She sees vague futures. She always speaks the truth, just like a true mistress ought to. I see.
I feel a current in my veins.
I'll give you some of my doctor drugs. Did I just give drugs to a child? I think I did.
It's the same power that my dear mother used to glimmer with.
Oh, sorry to have bothered you. So you're not the kid I was looking for. Let me see if there's a different house on the map that's like close to this one. Wonderful. We've seen this dude walking around. And, like, he's not threatening or anything. It's just really creepy. And, like, nobody responds to it. I'll have to link it in Discord at some point, but I watched this really interesting documentary talking about Roadside Picnic and how it's just kind of a reflection of the mid to late Soviet attitude of just, like, there is no truth, nothing matters, like, you can't know what's real, just kind of roll with it. And that is definitely the attitude of this game.
What?
Get everything back on track will be an easy task. You don't got anything else for me, buddy? So this is the room I was expecting to go to. This is where Anna Angel sent me. Just check on the map if there's another location here. Oh, I see. She gave me multiple locations where he might be. Gotcha. Let's go to that one, then that's southeast, southwest. Heart is crying for my poor children. Why are women being attacked? They rush to look for an undead Kohler. Why would they immediately rush to look for an undead something? Tori was a mistress. It seemed an ordinary creature couldn't hurt her. Her death was unexpected. She was very young. A man-eater had taken her soul. They try to seize every fifth man, too? Wonder if that's like a specific folklore story that I've never heard of. There was anxiety. Evil was walking among us. You can always feel it. It changes the density of the world. Your instincts tell you it's true. It's his old step wisdom. Superstitions like this have thrown sand in the wheels of countless scientific discoveries. And that's the end of that conversation. Very good. I haven't really had cause to use this thing yet. I'm sure that comes up later in the game. Big scary warehouse. Not an actual door. Did have some rando come up and try to kill me at one point.
Katerina thinks Clara is a messenger from heaven. Yeah, right.
Vlad the Younger. Come for sightseeing. Peculiar incident yesterday by the spleen. The children were playing in the mud, but they suddenly ran away from the sandbox, and the parents noticed their hands were smothered in blood. None of them were wounded. Neither were any of them surprised. So what's the solution to the puzzle? Such things happen all the time. What? Do they? The worried adults came to the place where the children had been playing. They found nothing unusual there, only sticks and stones. They probably dug out a dead cat. What? Children play peculiar games. Nice to meet a person of skeptical mind. I'm Vladislav Rubin, the younger one. Yep, I'm the Bachelor. As in, like, Bachelor of Medicine.
It is easier to govern others than to prevent being governed.
Their little barks at the beginning of dialogue are so interesting. They often give away plot points before you read them in the actual text box. You seem to be looking for the killer, right? I'm listening. I would like to hear you describe it. Termitary is a huge bunkhouse where the Bull Project workers live, though living is the wrong term for it. They nest. Nesting is a commune with a rather simple way of life. It could without reservation be called savage. What is the Bull Project? The industrial system of the town and the abattoir to the goods station. Go ahead. Let's get to the point then. A case of pointless, aimless unrest has occurred in the hive mind's nest. The workers there are prone to lashing out from time to time like beasts frightened by a storm. They rage, howl, and gnaw at another, an unsightly image of a mass uprising. What does this have to do with Simon's murder? Riots occurred there several times before. The mob goes crazy for a few days and they calm down just as unexpectedly, all of them at once. The sudden calm is just as void of reason as the unrest that set them agog previously. What is this kin? The kin is, it doesn't matter, it's hard to explain. Their whole so-called society. The many-headed biology. That's fine, it's not a weird thing to say at all. Let's just go back to the subject. This is all normal. Come up beforehand, the evidence of an upcoming outbreak of mass lunacy becomes obvious in advance. Termitary's Father Superior informs us of it. Mass anarchy. A member of the kin managed to run off into the town while we were busy taking measures. You think he's the killer? I think you and I can help each other. Hey, Isosceles Triangle, how you doing? You're looking for the killer. I'm sure it's a runaway butcher. The title of Half-Man suits him nicely. Kain's claimed that Simon had not been killed by a human hand, and our family doesn't need unnecessary unrest in the town. The butcher can babble devil knows what. His mind is most likely clouded with insane ideas. Rather he kept mum about what's happening inside? And why is your family so concerned about public order? We're rulers. It has nothing to do with charity. Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, it's super bizarre, and it's difficult to follow the little side comments that all the NPCs make, but like the core plot has been pretty easy to follow so far. Charge of production, after all. If the unrest becomes serious, the factories will stop. The project will start failing, and we have contracts, we could lose money. I'm surprised I have to explain this to you. Where do I look for this runaway butcher? Most likely being harbored in a suspicious house, crude sprawl. Father is a man of hard-handed disposition and quick-tempered to boot. If he finds out the sprawl is concealing a fugitive, he'll make a mess. You're cute. Ah, six gun. You treated native people better. Show me the house. The younger is more than eager to get rid of some beast-like troublemaker. I wonder what the creature whose murder would not be considered a crime looks like. It's just a weird way to say it.
Where did those lazy bastards go?
Did Isidore visit you last night? Isidore is my colleague who's also dead. I'm gonna have to share that with you. The writing in this game is wild sometimes. I'm going to ask you one more question. Your answer will determine whether you and I become friends or enemies. Then I'd rather be your friend. Go ahead. What did you talk about? Isidore said, I'm merely retelling it secondhand. He said there's an epidemic in the steppe camps. An outbreak of Tarbagan sickness, the plague. Huh. Father issued an order to lock up the termitary to prevent the infection from getting in. Do you think Isidore had already been infected when he spoke of you? Wrapped in cloth and smelled of alcohol. He said these were preventative measures. could have already been infected when he visited Simon. Where is he staying? There's a secret dissecting room in one of the warehouses, but no one knows where exactly. He used to live mostly in the steppe. Sometimes sleeping in the termitary or at Laura Ravel's shelter. What would you have done if you were him? I would have resigned myself and left the place for good. My investigation is over. I'd check every warehouse. Save again real quick.
Katerina
sure, I exhaust dialogue here.
From heaven. Yeah, right.
What do you think about Simon's death? Simon again is the immortal guy. Limited his social activity just before his departure. He only received 2 visitors. I know nothing of the first, but the second was none other than Isidore Barak. Kogimskis weren't delighted with Isidore, were they? Right, I'm absolutely positive my father is innocent. I would have never confessed to it, even though we share a mutual distaste for one another. Is he useful as a healer? I'm talking about Isidore. He wasn't a doctor, he was more of an herbalist. He never studied medicine. All his recipes were plants and roots. He was a sorcerer, but a different one from Simon. Yeah, everyone in town has this weird, like, superstition around Simon. An earthen sorcerer. Simon was a theurgist. Isidore was a witch doctor. I'll start speaking your tongue myself soon. Okay, that's all his dialogue for now. So we got a decent number of open plot threads now that we can explore. Let's see. I guess I'll go to the mysterious dude in the house. Let me go back to mouse and keyboard. Fortunately, the controls are a little janky. Beastlike troublemaker. Let's try that. It's far to the northeast, near the abattoir, which is more than a little scary as buildings go. I don't know if this is an intentional thing by the devs, but their rain kind of looks like film grain. It's pretty creepy. Okay, gotta get to the river, and then there should be a bridge. You must make haste. The sun will set in 4 hours. Unless you're able to recognize the Shabnak's guise, she will kill you before nightfall. Tarry not. The only one who can tell you what the monster looks like. Meet me in the rod outside the Tanner's district. What? How did you know to press L there? Did I get like a pop-up or something? I'm pretty sure I already read this Isidore message a while ago. find the rod. The owner of this house has something crucial to tell me. Okay. So hang a left at the river and then go up past one bridge and then take it right at the next bridge. Symbol in the bottom left means I got a letter. Okay. Does the letters just spawn as like a random notification, or is it like handed to me by an NPC when I bump into them or something? Think of them like text messages. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. So I am blind and I'm trying to figure this out, but I wouldn't have known to do that. If you're not sure whether something is kosher to share, if you type !hide before your message, then chat can see it, but I cannot. So you can just double check and see if everyone agrees, like, yeah, that's a cool thing to share. No, I'll let them figure that out. But thanks for the heads up on the L thing. I did not know that. That they could just spawn randomly like that. Tell me I can fit past this thing. Looks like I gotta do the long way around. Okay, that's fine. Exhaustion meter. I think I have some drugs to deal with. The first couple hours, most of the game mechanics, like the scanner thing, most of the items haven't really mattered yet, other than needing the money to bury that body for Anna Angel. Right. Definitely feels like it's on purpose. The weird, misty, dreamlike quality of just the town in general. I'd love, after beating this game, to go back and see if anyone's done like a discussion with the developers and like what they were going for. Like Deadly Premonition, it's sometimes hard for me to tell if something is janky because it's like meant to be janky, or if it's janky because vision couldn't necessarily meet intent. But my understanding is that a lot of the questions I have about this game and its sequel, Pathologic 2, are basically rife with spoilers, so I'm careful not to ask too many of them. My understanding is that Pathologic 2 is kind of a remake, but not really, but kind of. I'm completely blind, I haven't seen anything about this. I'm trying to beat every awesome game, and subscribers can put games on the schedule, so if they say, play Pathologic, I just go on Steam and buy it. Don't read any of the details.
My eyes look just like buttons, don't they?
They do, Katerina. It's a good way to describe it. The only proper way for a duel to end is the death of one of the fighters. That's what battles are supposed to be. A brutal philosophy. Why are you telling me this? Talking about a particular battle. You're one of the combatants. Do you favor good or evil? I favor winning. Yeah, that's an answer. Spoken like a true warrior. I wish you victory, Bachelor. Even though I doubt there can be a victory at all in this battle. You are very kind.
It's true. The girl has proven that she's a saint, not a killer.
You're a brave man. Why? The fight is very unlikely to end in your favor. Does a clan-bone man-eater leave traces of the kind you've witnessed? It's only a spell and illusion. They just prefer to see it this way. It makes it easier for them. What man-eater? You'll have to fight to the death. Even if we're a metaphor, the ending is still unambiguous. If you don't find out what happened before nightfall, you will die. Hey Kiki, how you doing? Interesting is a really good word to describe this game. I like how you have control over your dialogue options, but all of the dialogue options still represent a certain sort of personality. It's kind of like how you have dialogue choices in Persona 3, but you're always a douchebag. How do you know all this? You're clairvoyant. What's the nature of your visions? You should not be the primary concern at the moment. You should concern yourself with the number of minutes you have left, and that number is dwindling. I'll throw predictions around. Others will tell you how often they've come true. Heed my words. Fine. Okay, so I basically came here for her to tell me that I'm going to get murdered if I don't solve the mystery by this evening.
Were pierced with needles. Do something.
The barks are great. Do you think Simon Kane's death was unnatural? Simon used to drink human blood? Simon transformed our town into a single whole, a living being. He was the heart, and we were the blood running through the town's veins. The bound are actually bound to Simon. What about limits to the world's patience? What do you mean by that? Huh. Who is to blame for his death? Even if someone did have something to do with it, is that person worth blaming? Most likely they didn't realize they were killing someone. Yeah, exclamation point hide before the message. Oh yeah, you're clairvoyant.
I'm afraid I'm of little use now.
Take some painkillers, but we won't. Whoa, I don't... Okay, I right-clicked it, which dropped it, which wasn't on purpose.
What?
And then I left-clicked it, which consumed it, which also wasn't on purpose, but it looks like it helped my exhaustion meter a bit. It's probably a waste, since I'm assuming it also would have healed me. So I saw the health meter pop up. Oh well. Okay. Let's go... I can go warn person if I have to. Oops. I can go look for the Beastlike dude. I think I'm gonna go deal with the Beastlike thing, so southeast. Can't fit through there. Whenever I see those little pop-ups in the top left corner, that means that I just picked up some random loot, right? way and then right. I mentioned that I might need to do some murdering, so I'll try to save before I get in there. Let me do that now, I'm thinking about it. I've been in this building before, haven't I? Creepy. Also creepy.
To tame his impertinence, Earth had disgorged a monster from deep within its bowels.
There's a runaway hiding here. Take me to him. Need to ask him a few questions. So he's in danger. He's a butcher. He won't talk to you. You wouldn't understand him. He's been here for more than a day, but I can't get him to talk. What do you want to tell me? Big Vlad has plugged the termitary up for a reason. It's the elder Vlad. Butcher's mumblings all over the place, but if you listen carefully, you'll make out tales of such horrors that I get shivers all over. Thousands of people have lost their minds all at once there. Many have died. Something's brewing. How did they die? Can't tell. You've forgotten he's crazed. If you think he'll communicate with you, you're mistaken. They aren't great talkers. They can only howl, growl, and bawl when they're under they're under a spell. But when they're under a spell. I can hold my own. It's in the hospice. The entrance is at the other side of the house. Okay. That's the letter symbol? Oh no, that's a journal symbol, I think. Hello, friend. Yeah, that's not English. Do you understand me? Oh, Jesus. Actually don't know the mouse and keyboard controls for fighting. It's like Dreamfall combat, right? Perfect. Well, that was worth it. Doesn't look like he has any, like, loot on him, right? So, I might be reading this backwards. Is a max exhaustion meter means I'm very exhausted, not I wait for exhaustion to empty and then that's bad? Because it looks like infection is empty and I know I'm not infected. Whatever happens, these people must live. I do like that. Very exhausted. I don't think I can resolve that though, right? Because I can't, it says I've got a sharp time limit, so I don't think I can rest without dying.
What's wrong with my eyes?
Your veins are all swollen. Does being close to me make your blood stir? Sleep for 1 hour. Still pretty much in trouble. Poor Butcher. All he did was not speak English, apparently. That's why I killed him. I don't want to just, like, pick up random stuff yet. I don't think it matters. I had to junk a bunch of that last episode in order to be able to afford to pay the $2,000 to the guy. Alright, where are we going? I guess I could go back and tell the guy that I killed the merchant's son, so that's southwest. Basically, I finished his quest. Speaking of which, I just want to double check. Stock Rubin, the town medic should be warned at once. Okay, so I don't actually know where Stock Rubin is, I don't think. Let me check. Lump. Does this mean I have to meet someone to tell me where Rubin is, or is Rubin just going to be at the place of the murder? Usually I get a map indicator, but I don't have one, so that makes me think I might have to go back to the starting house. Let's see. Dead end. Chat can answer that. So it says I need to go warn Rubin, but I don't have Rubin marked on my map. Does that just mean that I have to go to the starting house? Is like he there preparing to examine the body or something? That's another hour passing. I slept for an hour, so shit's probably not great. So I think I actually increased my exhaustion by taking those drugs on accident earlier. So I can always load my save back to that if I have to. Aren't you alive, Legal? Shall we barter, perhaps? Hey, sir, how you doing? Oh yeah? Okay. Usually I get some kind of breadcrumb of like who to talk to next, so I don't have one right now.
Smell on the outside.
Going well. Made some good progress in Half-Life 2 Episode 2. About to get eaten by some kind of monster in this game. So, like, chill is not the right word to describe this game, but this game has been mostly chill other than that butcher I just murdered. And I guess the guy near the gravedigger who attacked me. But there's been all this tension, and getting that letter that's like, hey, you're gonna get murdered soon, was the first suggestion of harm coming to my character. Yo.
Katerina thinks Claire is a messenger from heaven. Yeah, right.
Butcher is dead. Someone killed Simon, right? I doubt that. He's too dumb for that. He was definitely insane and very dangerous. I hold too much respect for you to offer you a reward for this extraordinary service. Please accept this money as a donation from the town's rulers to you. Okay. This is acceptable if you put it that way, but only that way. I don't even know the premise, no. I'm like 100% completely blind. I've gotten the sense that it's like horror adjacent, like mildly Lovecraftian. It's hard to see that through the like roadside picnic, what is truth, weird dialogue, so I'm interested in finding out what the next step is. This is a game that after 2.5 hours I still don't know what the core gameplay loop is other than investigating and talking to people, obviously. Yeah. Insane is freaked out and can't speak English. This is acceptable if you put it that way, but only that way. Okay.
It is easier to govern others than to prevent being governed.
It's a really dickish thing to say. So, I'm going to try going back to the starting house, and hopefully they're there. I don't think I have anyone else to ask. We're getting increasingly creepy audio as the night goes on. So that's fun. Everybody's just running. Trying to figure out what the deal is with the wide open map and mostly empty buildings, and I think it's because it's a mystery game, there need to be a bunch of like red herring paths. Places that don't actually go anywhere relevant. I think it's the left door, let's see. Because the journal says don't let him touch the body. He's gonna get the sickness.
I have a heartache.
How many doctors are in your town? Rubin. He's the most competent of Isidore's apprentices. Do you trust Rubin? Competent medic of remarkable courage and laudable integrity. I'll come here tonight to get down to examine my brother. You'll get acquainted then. I examine the body?
Time will meet its death at the hand of Simon's murderer.
Let me know when this Rubin arrives. No earlier than 11 o'clock. Why so late? Excessive haste has led to undesirable consequences. Puzzle has to be solved within your mind. I'm not able to or even allowed to tell you any more than that. I'm not trying to conceal evidence from you. The body's kept in the ice house. It's intact. Focus may not be breached. Take all possible measures to ensure the safety of the body. So I forget, is there a way for me to see the current clock? Okay, here we go. So I think if I wait for him to get here, it's already past the threshold for me to get eaten by the monster. But I'm wondering if I do it just by like standing in this room, if that's relatively safe. I'm just thinking aloud here. I'm not looking for answers just yet. I don't have a bed to rest in here, so... Let me go ahead and save just while I'm thinking about it. Maybe there's a bed in one of the other buildings in this complex. Time step. Oh yeah, that creepy thing. Both of these creepy things. The first things you run into when you walk out of the house, you're like, what the fuck? There's a bed. Wait, there's no NPCs here. Hey, you're a creeper.
Why can't I move on my own?
Terrifying battle is ahead of you. If no one's ever told you about your fate, I'll be the first. Fight a foe few can defeat. It's a prophecy. He who laughs last laughs best. Super creepy people. Worried about being outside, so I'm gonna try to pass the time just by talking to people nearby. I also don't want to rest too long and have that result in a game over. If I'm reading the letter correctly, it sounds like they're communicating gameplay information to me. That's great. What's up?
I'd rather not go looking for another.
Hey, it's Rubin. Here to examine the body. I hope you haven't touched it yet. I haven't. Is there a problem? Simon's body, wherever it is, poses a dire threat. He's died of a contagious disease. Oh yeah, hence all of the things about infection. Are you sure? Doesn't matter. It's that thing again. What do you think it is? Could be the plague. Could these steps be home too? Second outbreak. I need to regain my senses. Are you sure about this? Do you mean what you say? Why are you so scared? If it's the sand plague, the master's death was so untimely. Only have a few more days to live. I have no idea how to stop it. No one does. What is the sand plague? I'd rather have any other plague than this. Body must be inspected, isolated, and destroyed if necessary. You must take protective measures. Need your diagnosis before we can provide reasonable protection. At the moment, you can only buy yellow immunity boosters at the drugstores. They're no good. I'll try to do something about this. You need to take remedies from Master's old workplace. Did you know he was murdered by his son, an atrocity? What kind of remedies do you speak of? Folk medicine, herbs, Eastern recipes, traditional step cures. When was the first outbreak? 5 years ago. Why are your drugstores in such an appalling state? It's not super clear, like, when this game takes place. I have another concern at hand. I'll check your drugstores. As for you, follow your plan. Arrange for the body to be isolated. Kain's keeping it in a cold place. I'll keep you informed. If we act deliberately and with calm mind, we can prevent the epidemic. Stay strong. Won't leave you on your own. Save. See what the quest text says for now. Inform Georgiy what the primary investigation has shown. Yo.
Few people know death. We only endure it. The town will meet its death at the hand of Simon's murderer. That much is certain.
You assert that Simon Kain was not killed by a human or Shabnak demon, but died of natural cause or succumbed to some physical sickness. Died of a mysterious disease. Microbes are more efficient killers than demons. Is that a hypothesis or a fact supported by evidence? It's a hypothesis. Are spreading false rumors of civil disorder which they would have it look over the town. Same people would happily sacrifice human life to maintain a semblance of order. What would you say to that? Order must be restored. Yeah, it's so strange, like, I struggle to tell whether it's because of its localization into English. Like, it clearly is competently localized, so I assume that it's just really weird in the source language. Where's the body now, Judge? No one has touched the body since its death. Tradition kept their family business from seeing the dead until a certain time has passed. He was infected. How did it happen? Most convincing proof would be a body examination. What other proof do you expect? Venerable Bachelor, do you take me for some willful old fool who's burdened you out of spite with a complicated solution of a simple problem? Is the body truly as isolated, as reliably as you say? Body's in the focus of the crucible. You cannot examine it now, and I mean that it is technically impossible. What am I supposed to do then? Discuss this with your brother. Victor actually here? For sure, yeah. No, it's like some of the turns of phrase and choices of words in the localization are too good, for lack of a better word, for me to think that it's just badly localized. It's just, the source text must be extremely strange. I'll be the first to meet the killer. Dr. Rubin has better chances of that. Count that were Katerina's prophecy to come true, it would have made the situation even more convoluted than it already is. Blood-covered fugitive, Beastlike fugitive.
However brilliant an action, it should not be esteemed great.
Oh, is this an updated translation in Classic HD? Yikes. I imagine it's gotta be pretty rough. Durr. Diary separate from the quest journal. Means quest is complete. Okay.
If we conquer our passions, it...
I guess I don't have anything new for Victor. So if I'm done with quest, it says today's quest. Does that mean that I need to, like, sleep to pass time to the next day or something? Can I do that basically anywhere in any bed? Yeah, I think that, like, the way you're supposed to play this game and what the core gameplay loop is, like, intentionally obtuse. So I want to be careful to not ask too many questions, but here it looks like I've done everything the game wants me to do, so... There's a bed in Maria's house. You need to finish that quest by the end of the day. Oh, okay. Well, that's an interesting way of organizing it. I don't think it even occurred to me in the first hour and a half or so that like the passage of time was that you were operating under some kind of time limit. Hide's seeing plenty of use. Okay. Exhaustion's down a bit.
The day is over. Your timely efforts allowed your supporters to remain unharmed. A new mime performance is being rehearsed at the theater.
A new mime performance is being rehearsed at the theater? What? Okay, so bad things may have happened if I had passed into the next day without completing the quest.
Her mystical affinity tickled Katerina's fancy.
I love the voice acting. Hooray! Is that a letter? Okay. Letter from the powers that be. Outbreak of dangerous disease in the vicinity. There's also an opinion that the outbreak is a falsification staged deliberately for the purpose of concealing a murder. Consideration of your outstanding analytical capability, we delegate the investigation to you. If there's an epidemic, it must be halted by any means necessary. Collect as much information as you can. Make a decision in line with your own professional ethics and moral beliefs. In order to implement your strategy, an Inquisitor endowed with unrestricted authority will shortly arrive to join you. In the event you're unable to curb the outbreak before their arrival, all power over the situation will be reassigned to them. Recently requested permission to continue with own research. The decision of whether or not such permission will be granted depends on the results of this assignment. Okay. Body's been isolated. Rubin conducts the examination. See me in the rod first thing tomorrow morning. Powers that be are closing in on us. From a colleague in Thanatica. You're in grave danger. Your destination was chosen to be the place of your burial. There's a disease in the town of a most lethal variety. Little doubt that the powers that be have set up your whole journey. Talman wants to be rid of you more than he wants to cease the outbreak. Okay. As soon as you're dead. Okay, so we're about at time here. I gotta leave a pretty detailed message for future Marstead. This game it's on a couple people's subblocks. It's also on the voting spreadsheet. Someone can double check the command. I don't know it off the top of my head. But when it wins the vote, we'll play it, 4 hours a week until they beat it. Future Marstead, you have completed day 1 of the investigation. You must complete a daily quest every day. You press Q, you can see today's quest. It looks like you haven't picked it up yet for today. Press L to look at your letters. When you get a little pop-up in the bottom left corner, that means that you've received some kind of important notice. You just got several letters, one of which is saying you have to solve this epidemic before the Inquisitor gets here. So that's scary. You know that the body of the person has been isolated by this other doctor, Rubin, so it might be worth trying to find the body later on. You also got a warning from your colleague that the powers that be are out to get you and out to kill you. So go around, talk to people on your map, press M. Looks like on a new day, your points of interest get reset, so you can just try to talk to as many people as you can. Do your best to progress. Cool. Thanks, folks, and thanks for the help.